Hello everyone, Jack here again for another new comic book day here at Forbidden Planet, going through all the bits and pieces that I'm picking up off the shelf this week. So let's get cracking and have a look and see what's in my pull list. Starting as ever with my ongoing titles, we have Absolute Batman issue 16, which is the second part of the first major crossover in the Absolute universe between Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman. Obviously we had the one-shot Absolute Evil that kind of brought a lot of the villains together, but this is the second half of the first time two of our heroes have crossed paths in the Absolute universe. As you can see, Absolute Diana still slightly towering over Bruce, which I'm glad it has kept its continuity going over into the Absolute universe. But yes, this issue of Absolute Batman sees Batman venturing into hell with Diana as he tries to find a cure for his friend Waylon. If you've been keeping up with the series, you'll understand how important this is to Bruce and how guilty he feels for the current situation and the way all of his friends, all of his sort of youthful cabal of usually villains are now being affected by his time as Batman and his involvement with them, and getting to spend a bit more time with Absolute Wonder Woman as well. Not a series that I'm currently picking up in single issues. I did obviously pick up the Absolute Wonder Woman issue of this crossover, which kicked off the two-parter. It certainly has made me want to go and check out more. I absolutely adore Hayden Sherman's art. I think he's a fantastic artist. So if this crossover's done anything, it's definitely made me want to venture further down into the Absolute Wonder Woman rabbit hole, which is kind of the point of doing things like this. It's to get readers who maybe aren't doing a lot of overlap to check out other titles. I'm obviously reading things like Absolute Martian Manhunter in trade, so it definitely spurred me on to do the same for Wonder Woman. So yeah, Absolute Batman issue 16. Up next, we have a little stopover in the current Spider-Man run with the first Amazing Spider-Man annual of Joe Kelly's run. This time at the helm is Saladin Ahmed, current writer of Wolverine. This is obviously not the first time he's handled a wall crawler. He had a run on Miles Morales a few years ago as well. But yes, Saladin Ahmed at the forefront of the annual this time around with a brilliant Gabriel Dell'Otto cover, as ever. You know, between him and Lee Bermejo, I'm kind of becoming bankrupt on Spider-Man covers, but I wouldn't really have it any other way. Joe Kelly does also scribe the back half of this annual, which leads in very well into Amazing Spider-Man 21. So if you are reading Amazing Spider-Man, if you are reading the mainline series, you should definitely pick up the annual as well, because there's going to be loads of great little crumbs to pick up when going back to the regularly scheduled programming. That's the whole point of an annual, is to get a few extra stories in a current run and for other creators to celebrate either their version of a character or the current writer's version. That resonates with them and they want to sort of jump into the sandbox for a little bit, and also for writers to give us a little extra taste, a little extra something or other for their ongoing work. So yeah, Amazing Spider-Man Annual issue 1. It's quite a light week for my ongoing series, but there is a huge release that I'm very excited for, and it draws to a close the first chapter of the great new era that is Heavy Metal. Yes, last year Heavy Metal did make its triumphant return to comic shelves, and this issue 4 marks the end of a lot of the serialized anthology work in there, including the very final part of Sergio Garassi's Valentina, which was translated by our very own Camden manager Vic DeLuca. So if you've not been checking that out, go and pick it up. Pick it up. One of our own's in there, guys. Go support Heavy Metal. But yeah, I have really enjoyed this series. It's actually the first time I've been picking up a Heavy Metal as it's been coming out. I hadn't had the opportunity to before. I've picked up older issues of Heavy Metal here and there quite sporadically, just to engage with certain creators or to enjoy some variety of work, or because it had an absolutely smashing cover. So it's actually a real nice change of pace reading these stories as they come out and putting the pieces together to create these whole fabulous stories from creators all over the world. It's just such a smorgasbord of talent in here, and yeah, every issue has been an absolute treat and delight. Heavy Metal issue 4 is out this week. Now on to the new number 1s on the shelf this week, and some honourable mentions for things that have got me excited, I think you should be checking out. Kicking us off with Iron Man issue 1 from Joshua Williamson. Yes, a brand new Iron Man series starts right here. If you're a fan of the Shellhead, as Wolverine would so affectionately call him, then there's a new jumping on point for you on the shelves this week here at Forbidden Planet. You can also check out on the forbiddenplanet.com website if you can't get to your local FP, because there are a ton of covers to choose from. They've done a great job at giving us such a variety for this brand new issue 1. So have a look, see what tickles your fancy, and pick up a brand new number 1 for Iron Man off the shelf this week. Now an honourable mention for some second printings that are on the shelf this week for a series I'm already reading in singles that I have loved and have shared my love for with customers in Camden and on these videos as well, and it's the entirety of the first arc of Chip Zdarsky's new Captain America run. Yes, I've been raving about this series. I know we've all been really enjoying it at Camden and here at Forbidden Planet as well. I said in the last New Comic Day video, issue 6 kicks off a new arc that takes Steve back into the modern timeline, into modern continuity, but these 5 issues are just such a brilliant insight into Captain America, out of time as always, but in a new era where it requires a different sort of patriotism and way the American government dealt with that patriotism post 9/11, and how a man from World War II might not share in those beliefs or in that rhetoric, or how the symbolism he fights behind and wears very proudly on his chest and as his shield, it may not resonate with him as much as he might hope it does. And it's just a brilliant series. I highly recommend it. If you've not picked it up, there's now a chance to pick it up all in singles if you can't wait for the trade. I recommend picking it up in singles, because then you can go straight in and pick up last week's issue 6 and just rattle through. It's so worth doing. It's a brilliant series and I highly recommend it. And these are on the shelf this week at Forbidden Planet. Now, finally, for single issues on the shelf, last but by absolutely no means least, one of the most famous, prolific and important Batman stories of all time is back in a prestige single facsimile edition. We have Alan Moore and Brian Bolland's The Killing Joke. Yes, The Killing Joke is back on comic shelves this week, as it would have been way back when it originally released, in its original colouring as well. For those of you who may have only ever read The Killing Joke in the trade paperback, that's available in the hardcover deluxe edition. That's available with all of Brian's incredible sketches and work in progresses in the back, including that photo of him holding the camera that ended up becoming this probably one of the most famous images of all time. I was about to say one of the most famous comic covers, but it's such a recognisable image just in general. I'm happy to state that this is one of the most famous pictures on the planet. But yes, it has the original colouring in there, which was changed for later publications for many different reasons. But if you've never had the chance to see it, the only way I currently own the original colouring is in a French edition of The Killing Joke. So being able to have it in English and actually read it all the way through and understand what's going on, because I sadly don't speak French, I kind of get the gist. I've read it so many times, you know what's going on. But yeah, this is just such a joy to have on the shelf. It's also the price of an original single issue. I highly obviously recommend picking up the hardcover, because it's got so much more information in there. It's slightly bigger as well, so you can see Brian's incredible artwork on a slightly bigger format. But just being able to have one of these at a great price point is really cool, because it means we can give it to new readers, and also people who have loved and engaged with The Killing Joke for all these years actually have the chance to pick it up as close to the original format as possible without spending an arm and a leg, which is always great. And the purpose of facsimiles, and why I love them and champion them so much, they are a great way to engage with comic work as it was originally intended, as close as we can possibly get with modern printing practices and modern every other bits and pieces practices. So yeah, this is class. If you've never had the chance to read The Killing Joke, now's the time to do it. It's one of those books, I say a lot of the time in these videos, don't listen to top 10 lists for comics, always go for the stuff that looks cool on the shelf. This always looked cool on the shelf to me. It's not a one size fits all. Batman might not be your guy, it might not be your comic journey. The Joker stories might not be either, but if you are a Batman fan and you've never had the chance to read The Killing Joke, this is 100% the time to pick one up off the shelf. Brian Bolland is one of the loveliest comic creators I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. I've met him a few times now. He's a wonderful gentleman and creator. He's so talented, and I am always in awe when I get to hear him speak about his work and his incredible life in comics. He's just one of the coolest guys ever. You know that already, but I just really great bloke. So yeah, definitely 100% definitely pick up The Killing Joke this week. And then on a mildly somber final note, but it is indeed in itself a celebration, we finally have collected all 10 issues. Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale's Batman The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, which marks the final collaboration between Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale as their final Batman Long Halloween story is told together following Tim Sale's obviously very sad passing. This series is an absolute love letter to Tim Sale and his work. Every issue written by Jeff Loeb had a different artist on there, paying homage, paying their respects, and putting their all into telling Loeb and Sale's final Batman story together. It's based off of scripts and unused art and reworked artwork from Sale for the covers, and it's such a monument to their time together as creators. I've mentioned either last week or the week before, I think, that they're my favourite pair of comic creators. I think everything they touch turns to gold. They really did have, they are the Midas of comic books, and it's really kind of emotional that this is the last thing they've worked on together that we're going to have access to, that there are going to be no more brilliant stories together. It doesn't mean we can't go back and enjoy everything that's there, and there is so much to enjoy and so much to engage with. I actually held off reading the single issues. I picked up the issue 1 and was like, I'm gonna wait. I want to read it all. As I read Long Halloween and Dark Victory and Catwoman When in Rome and Captain America White and Spider-Man Blue and Hulk Grey and Daredevil Yellow, you know, I've always read their stuff in one sitting, basically in trade, and I wanted to do the same for the last Halloween. It is sad. It is quite sad, actually, thinking about it, that this is going to be the last sort of gap to fill in my shelf for their work. But what an incredible comics journey they had together, and what an incredible artist and talent Tim Sale is, and always will be, in the annals of comicdom. He'll always be there, as will Jeff Loeb, if not for their individual work, but for their work together, 100%. So yeah, if you've never read a Long Halloween book, if you've read, like me, absolutely everything they've ever put their names to, then this is something you should be picking up off the shelf regardless. It's going to be really quite emotional getting through it, I reckon, for me, but I am so grateful that we got something, and that the industry was able to come together to champion Sale and Loeb's partnership and Sale's life and career. And this is going to be a really, really special book for a very long time and forever. So yeah, Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, now on shelves in hardcover graphic novel. Pick it up. So yeah, sorry for the, again, like I said, quite a somber final note for this video this week, but it's important that we talk about it, and it's something that I'm picking up, and it's something that means a lot to me, so it's made its way into the video. And I know you'll be alright with that. I know there's going to be plenty of people watching this as well that are going to be rushing to grab their copy of The Last Halloween and all the other bits and pieces that are on the shelf this week. Let me know in the comments what you think. It's the first thing I'm going to read. I'm just going to sit down with a lot of coffee and my dog and just read it, and I'm really looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. It's going to be, yeah, it's going to be cool. It's going to be very cool. If you've enjoyed the video, which I know you have, because you're going to smash that like button and subscribe to Forbidden Planet TV if you haven't done so already, which I know a lot of you have, but if you haven't already, just hit the subscribe button. Keep up to date with all the brilliant FPTV content we're coming out with. Not just myself, there's loads of bits and pieces coming out from Andrew and from Laura and from the rest of the team. And as ever, if there's anything you've seen in the video, it is available at your local Forbidden Planet or at forbiddenplanet.com, which are also the best places to check out all the other bits and pieces that have come out this week that I've not had a chance to mention in this video, or that might have escaped my view, or I'm just not picking up currently. As I said, we all collect very differently, and there's going to be something on the shelf that's going to tickle your fancy this week. So head on down to your local FP, check the website for all the bits and pieces that are out now that you can order direct to your home, set up a select service, the free reservation service we have at all 10 of our Forbidden Planet stores to make sure you don't miss out on any of the single issues that you're picking up. And yeah, have a wonderful rest of your week. I hope you have a brilliant weekend, and I shall see you next week for a host of new comics. Thanks very much.
If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.